This is Gladiator II. We're going to be diving in and talking about this long after sequel to the original film that starred Russell Crowe and is basically a beloved modern classic of gladiating action and great brutal combat. Something you would call the ultimate dad film, as to say. And the sequel has arrived, and it's very much leaning on its origins from the original film, while also doing some new things. Be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well, and your comments are appreciated so that I know if these movie reviews are worth doing more of. So hopefully you enjoy this, and we can talk about more films in the future as we get to check them out. So this film basically is continuing off of the events of the original. Time has passed, things have changed. There's a group of two siblings that have become the emperor and emperors, and they're kind of managing things. They're greedy, they want expansion, and they are driving their forces and their particular general, who's played by Pedro Pascal, into a little bit of madness and unease as the world of Rome is starving and they are continuing to have to conquest and battle, and that's getting a little exhausting. And then on the flip side, we have the story of this young boy that has grown, who's played by Mescal, who has legacy roots within the Gladiator franchise. I'm going to try to do things a little spoiler free. And ultimately, he grows, the two clash, the general, Pedro Pascal and then Mescal, kind of clash at this one city, and then eventually Mescal becomes a bit of a gladiator, and that's sort of how our story kind of kicks off. This has all of the spectacle and the design you would expect out of something that continues the events of Gladiator. Again, the original Gladiator is considered like an all-time great. The cinema, the cinematography, the cinematic feel of it, the vibe, the style of it. It's a beloved film, and there's a reason it's so beloved, is it's so well done. It's an incredible movie. It's lengthy, it's expansive, it's brutal, it's exciting, and it's got Russell Crowe really at the center of it that draws in the attention of the audience. And then for the sequel, there is a massive, massive crater that is a Russell Crowe hole that the second film is trying to fill. And Mescal just really is not up to par as a leading man. And that was a little disappointing because, they are very obviously trying to make him like a Russell Crowe 2.0 type, and the guy just does not have the gravitas or the really, he's just kind of trying to play it super stoic, and it just really does not work for that character. It's also very weird how he's immediately like become some kind of leader of the gladiators, though I'm not really seeing where that was earned. It almost feels like for a movie that was incredibly lengthy, that they were missing large swaths of it still. So maybe there's going to be a director's cut someday or something like that that kind of goes a little bit further, because it did feel like a lot of the movie was kind of missing or just really wasn't fully there. So anyways, continuing to talk about the characters and the development of the world, Rome is suffering, but there's the spectacle of the games being run in honor of their expansion and this great general. And whenever the games were going on, that was the best part of the movie. I tried to get an idea of what my father felt of the film, because I got to go and, Paramount, very nice. They send me tickets to go and check out the movies because they don't really do screenings where I live anymore, sadly. And I was like, oh, I have to drag my father to go and watch it because, well, more like he would drag me to go watch it, right? Because he loves Gladiator and watches Gladiator all the time. So I had to go. It was my responsibility to go watch him with him. And he kind of, his one thing was he didn't understand how they got sharks in the Colosseum. But I don't know if he liked it. I think did. Not really hard to get vibes from that guy. But anyways, that was the one takeaway note I got, was he didn't understand how they got sharks in the Colosseum. So take that as you will, I guess. I was confused too, but it makes sense that was the sticking point, was the sharks there. But anytime the Colosseum was going on, the movie was full throttle, absolutely kicking on all gears. Why is this? Anyways, so the Colosseum was so cool. There's one where they get their cute little ships in there, and it's all there's water, like, it's all like flooded. The Colosseum, has to say, and they got their little cute boats coming in, and they're shooting fire arrows and stuff at each other. There's like a ramming and battling, and sharks, CGI sharks, are going through the water, and guys that get knocked over, they get eaten by the sharks. And there's a scene with like a rhino, and there's a scene with like a group of guys fight each other. And whenever they were in the arena fighting, That was fantastic. The stuff outside the arena, which makes up the vast majority of the film, just wasn't very well done. The story kind of just jumps across. A lot of the plot points don't make sense. There's a more exciting story based around kind of the side character, but also like a main character. And we'll talk about that in a sec, which is that of Denzel Washington's really interesting role. But we'll get to that in a sec. I'm kind of building up to it a little bit, if that makes sense. So yeah, like the CGI in this movie was terrible. Some of the like again talking about cinematography and stuff like that, like it looked really good. Like a lot of the film looked really good. The scale, the sense of Rome, the the details of people in the streets, everything it looked fantastic. And then there's like an opening, kind of near the opening scene with like baboons, and I think they're baboons, monkeys, giant, crazy, hungry monkeys. And the CGI was so bad it just completely takes you out of the movie. It's you've got like Mescal there biting into like a CGI monkey thing, and it looks just awful. And the sharks were very clearly CGI, and I guess the rhino, but like you can tell when this movie is using practical and very well done visuals and styles, and then you can really tell when it's fake, and it stands out so badly, which is a shame. But other than that, like the movie did really look quite nice. It was very visually well done. And this is where we get to the part where I'm kind of talking about the performances here. So Pedro Pascal is fantastic in this movie, but like as soon as he's not really in the movie as much, it just becomes boring, or a lot less interesting. And Mescal just cannot lead this type of film. He just like he was really just trying to beat Russell Crowe 2.0, and they like heavily were leaning on this being like Gladiator 2.0. Like it's the same kind of story beats and everything, which was a little less interesting. It's not the same movie, but it's the story beats are very similar. And like that guy just whenever he was on the screen, you could tell he was being like outclassed by other actors and such. And then good emotional kind of beats from his I don't know how you would call it. Anyways, a returning lady from the first film. She was really good in this, connecting to him and as he was a gladiator. And then the best part was Denzel Washington's schemer of sorts, the man of gladiators, rising the ranks. Okay, he kind of like it takes you out of it too because he was basically in an entirely different kind of movie from everyone else. It felt like it felt like the Emperor Crazy Twins were like trying to reach his level, but they just couldn't. Uh, he was like he was so good. Like every time he was in the scene, I'd be like, "Wow, this is exciting. This is interesting. What's this guy doing?" And it got more and more interesting as the film went on. And there's a more interesting film based around just that character's perspective. But like he's zany and over the top and a little Shakespeare like, almost Shakespearean like in terms of his presentation, and it's really good and captivating and interesting. But he's very grand, little cartoonish, but like it works. It works really well. But in the context of everyone around him, he kind of feels a little out of place because he's just so much better than those around him, which was kind of funny. It's worth it just to kind of see him going around doing stuff. And a lot of fun. I can't talk a whole lot about that character without spoiling things, but oh wow, it was fun watching him out on the screen like doing stuff. It was very fun watching that character. That is the big takeaway. Is he was very electrifying, very energetic, very exciting, and the way he was playing stuff up, like hamming it up a bit. He really knew the type of film he was in. Yeah. So it's an interesting film, Gladiator 2. I don't know if it necessarily needed to exist, but it's if you're going and you care about the spectacle of the arena, I wish there was more of it because it was so fun. The battle against the monkeys, the water filling, like the naval warfare was absolutely fantastic. The actual visceral combat of the arena, and it's like the film had like the greatest cop out level since like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But like, yeah, a lot of it just does not work. like it's fun, it's easygoing, but it is not anywhere near the level of the first Gladiator. Like I'd rather watch the first Gladiator like 30 times over than watch this one really a second time anytime soon. Which is a bit of a shame. Like it's not bad, it's fine, it's okay. It's just like there's different levels of quality where it is. Again, Denzel is like ooh, way up there, and Pedro Pascal really really good in his role, and it's just not enough of his presence, which makes sense from a narrative standpoint. And then Mescal just could not carry his part of the movie. Like his part of the movie was just like the boring part, but he's basically just playing like Maximus 2.0, and that was really disappointing because I was like, I don't know who you would put there instead, but if you had someone that was like literally Russell Crowe in that role, and that plus like Denzel, and that is a really perfect film that could have been there. But a lot of the story stuff too, the narrative just jumps, and it just goes all over the place, and it feels like it was like some of it was cut or something like that, and like it was a long movie, but it was still like needing a lot more to it, which is a shame. But I liked it. I liked the film to a degree. It's okay. It's just not quite like the masterpiece. Like I wasn't expecting a masterpiece. I was expecting a solid continuation, and it just like it was a little underwhelming in some areas. But yeah, and that was every time you're outside the arena, which again is a lot of the film is not being in the arena doing stuff. Whenever there's combat, whenever there's fighting, it was excellent. Whenever there was talking, those are the kind of the weaker points. Which again, I narrative and everything is important for this type of story, but like that element of it was really underbaked. It felt like the plotting and everything like that, and it really should have maybe almost focused on the perspective of like Denzel's character specifically would have been a little bit more intriguing. Just that sort of rise and build up is quite fascinating, and maybe like a side story almost would have been good for that. But like if you want Gladiator 2.0, you want easy crazy action, you want visceral combat, you want excitement, you want the spectacle of the arena. It's a fine film. It's enjoyable. I don't think you'll at all feel that it's like a needed necessarily success to the first one. You'll probably just go back and watch that. But it's still, if you want more of the universe of Gladiator and you waited a long time for it, I think this will deliver on that. Crazy combat, crazy excitement, crazy hype. But like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that stick out that aren't mind blowing in this film. But I think you can still have a solid time with it, an enjoyable time with it, an okay time with it. I'd give it a 5.8 out of 10. Maybe I'll have a full review that's written in the video description below. Again, liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and if you want more of these movie reviews. It's great to let me know if you enjoy them and stuff like that. Again, a great thanks to Paramount for allowing me to go out and check out this film. I missed screenings in my city, but you get what you get. I'd actually review a lot more films if screenings were still a thing here. But I think, yeah, the biggest takeaway is Colosseum stuff, awesome. CGI bad. The performances all over the place, and Denzel was a lot of fun in this. So I think if you're a fan of his, you might really, literally just enjoy this film based on his something a little different character wise, but something a little bit more old school for him as well, I guess. But very very good from that perspective. But yes, are you not entertained?